Okay guys, listen, I'm on the section where I'm going to disassemble the body of this Epiphone Special. Yeah, I'm going to have to open those holes too. I realized that, well, there is no additional space in this cavity at all to be able to add a pot for a 2-volume, 1-tone. So I'm going to go with 1 volume, 1 tone, 2 push-pulls to split the humbuckers. So I drew a new drawing which will look like that, which basically has each pickup, the splits coming down in here. There's going to be a Fralin resistor on both of them to ground. Oh, my printer is missing a color. So what's going to happen is that there's an output from the bridge that comes down to the switch, and there's an output from the neck that comes down to the switch. The switch switches that into the volume control, and then the volume control sends it out to the jack. The capacitor to ground going to this A500 creates the tone control for everything. It's that easy. And before I can do any of that, I have to take all this apart and collect the parts to build the circuit. And I am not going to show all that again. I'm just going to do it because it's going to become repetitive for me to show all this stuff. If there's any issues, I'll come back and mention them. But I pretty much will not film this whole event. I'm going to take all the parts off, the front and everything. I'm going to polish the front as I have with the back. It's pretty nice, but I'm going to polish it anyway. And then I will rebuild the circuit with the new parts. As promised, I'm done with the wiring installation. Got my 2 push-pulls in there. I kept the switch and the interconnect wiring, which is all shielded, and so it's good to go. So we're going to be moving to the next bench. Put the neck back on and put the cover and strings in. Full disclosure, I buggered up the tone. I had miswired the pot. I put it on the wrong plug when I was soldering it in. So I fixed it. The tap test works fine. I'm hoping the Fralin resistors that I put in there are going to work fine. I did put the bleed circuit in this one. I added the bleed circuit. 1 volume, 1 tone. It's a fairly simple setup, much the same as it was, except that I can split the humbuckers now. The other humbuckers that I took off of this were just 2-wire humbuckers. Alright, let's pick it up at the other bench. And here we are. We have fingerprints that I put on this thing while I was working with the wiring cleaned up. The neck is remounted. I have the tuners also remounted, and they are reworked to make them better. My first actual branded Les Paul. Oh, and the nut, this black nut, I took it off to replace it with a tusk. Turns out it is tusk, and I put it back in because it's properly cut for it and I didn't have to do any work. The front of the guitar is going to have a new look. It's going to be white and blue and chrome. I have a white tip coming for the selector switch, and it's chrome interimly. And we have mounted a set of Wilkinson Alnico 5 pickups on this baby. I ordered some Vanson 57s from England. They won't be in for a while, apparently. So I went with the 57, with the Wilkinsons that I have here. The bridge is a little bit bigger. This is a 13.6, I think it is. And the Vanson 57s are 8 something. So this is just a tiny bit more output, and the neck is basically our 8K, same as a 57. So we are going to put a set of 9 to 42s on this baby. The bridge has been lubricated. And it's going to be good to go. So I am going to put a set of strings on it, and we'll check back in a tiny little bit. Just going through the first tuning after the first stretching. Once you get up there, the tuners feel way better now that they're not so loose. After we get this done, I'm going to have to do some more stretching and set the pickup height and let it acclimate. I think I've got the bridge set just about right for the action height. Oh, it might be just a tad high. Yeah, now that I've got tension on it, it's just a tad high. And it can go down a tad more. I'm going to have to bring it back up to pitch now that I'm bringing it down a bit. I'm happy that I have downward adjustability on this one with a standard roller bridge saddle. Something I didn't have on the last guitar. Where are we at? It seemed like it was too low to begin with, and then I brought it down. I should say I brought it up. Now I'm having to bring it down. Let's take a little bit more than a quarter turn on it this time. So maybe I won't have to do it too many more times. Okay, that is much closer. Alright, let's bring it all the way back up to pitch. Let's see. Let's see. Do I need to do? Do I need to do? You know, I like my treble side just a wee lower than that. Like right about there. At the highest. That's going to make me touch that side again. Okay. So I'm going to do some more stretching. Stretching. I'm going to adjust the height of the pickups, and we'll be back after I've got something useful to say. It seems like the top of this nut hadn't been touched. When I compared it to the new tusks that I received, the top of the slots were exactly the same as their factory cut. And I think they adjusted it completely by um, doing the material on the bottom, if they in fact had to do it at all. I don't know how they did it, but the top was not cut. And now that I'm mounting new strings, I was finding that the B, the G, and the D specifically, which are a little bit more angled, were like right up on the edges, and were able to pop out of the slot quite easily. So without trying to deepen them anymore, because they're like right where they should be in height, I had to try to cut a little bit towards the back and square off the sides so that the string didn't want to pop off the rounded edges on that top of the nut. Looks like I got it. Alright, she needs to sit for a while. I've stretched it twice again, and the truss rod is coming into its own. I haven't touched the pickups yet, but I'm going to do that before we'll end up taking it to the bench to plug it in. Oh, I also haven't done intonation. I should do that while I'm kind of in this mode. Alright, we're at the amp, and we're on the 65 Deluxe. It's been weeks since the last segment before I got to this point. And the white tip came in, so now it's all white, 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 which I like better. Okay, so let's see how she goes now. Up, 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 no splits. I stupidly burnt my finger on the stove cooking, and a patch of skin came off the top. I'm having a little bit of problem, and then and then yesterday I cut myself on the top of that finger. It seems to be cursed. Alright, so this is the bridge with the Wilkinsons. Overall, it's turned out pretty good with these changes to it. The bare bones, the best fix I could do on the tuners with those nylon bushings, leaving the tusk nut in, which was a surprise. The fretboard is done, leveled, so the neck is now nice. Roller bridge, push-pull switches for each one. Split them individually, but master tone, master volume. Let's get that in there. Yeah. Neck. So I've got them set up so that they're fairly balanced in volume. So when you go to the middle, always sounds out of tune when it's not. Let's see what Mustang says. Mustang says they're okay. Must be my ears. So yeah, there's not really a whole lot to show now that that's done. Everything works as expected. The bridge is split by the tone pot. With its Fralin resistor, the neck, the middle, one split, two split. They sound more like single coils. So overall, I am sad that I bought this guitar. It was a chance that I would, you know, take a chance on an Epiphone. Put it together. Now I've improved it quite a bit. The bones with the neck and the body were good. So the tuners, I really wish they were a different style, that I could put like maybe standard die cast on there without having to show all the holes and stuff behind it. It's too bad about that. But the rest of it has turned out pretty good. But you know, let me just turn this off. This guitar goes for $300 here at the moment. So that one. But if you were going to buy one like this, I would better recommend the Monoprice 66 V2. Monoprice 66 Classic V2. It's basically the same guitar. Now on this one, the original pickups are in. I just looked at it. I haven't even changed the roller bridge to a roller bridge on it. It's still the original bridge. I know I changed the electrics and did a weird complicated control system on that, but the tuners better than these. Headstock shape and design better. We've got the A frame on this with no stress on the nut. The nut in here is the original one, I think. I think that's the original nut. I don't think I changed that. So basically all I did was change a few of the electrics. So between the two, this one, the Monoprice is a much better deal. US, this is going for $130. It's going for about $250 here. This one goes for $300 here. I don't know what it's going for in the US. But with the Monoprice, you also get this deluxe gig bag, which is very, very nice. But I mean, easily more than up to or more than a half-inch padding on it. It's really something. Now if you buy that bag alone, and it doesn't even come with as good a padding as that, they're like $41 and some cents here. So between these two, I would definitely avoid Epiphone, and you'd have a much better value in the Indio. The Indio has a satin neck. It's a little chunkier, but value for the money. And if you were going to mod it, you'd be much better off with the Indio for the same style guitar. So this is the end of my series on the Les Paul Special 2 Plus. An awful lot of words to the title of it to try to make it seem better than it is, I guess. I'm just not impressed by it, and so in my opinion the Monoprice 66 Classic is a way better guitar for the money and the case. Catch you in the next one.